Hi there. Today we're working on taking a scrapbook overlay and not only cutting it to use on our scrapbook page, but also using it to cut all of the filler papers that we want without having to fussy cut those. So first we're going to upload our image. I'm going to go over here to upload and I'm going to click on upload image and then either browse or drag and drop the file that I want into this space. I want this SVG because it's the one that's meant for cutting with Design Space and with most die cutting machine software. So I'm going to go ahead and click on SVG and then click open. And you'll see that it gives me a preview of what my file is going to look like. I'm going to tell it go ahead and upload. And then once you see all your files that you need to upload, you're going to click on the one that you want to work on the canvas. And you'll see it gets this green bounding box. And then I'm going to go ahead and add it to canvas. So here's my file ready to go. I could go ahead and cut it just like this and have the overlay. And then I could do my fussy cutting for all the colors in the background. But I want my Cricut to do that fussy cutting this time. So we're going to go through a few little processes to make that work. And this will work with any overlay that you have, not just the overlays that I make. There are other overlays in the free library if you want to check those out. And then any of the ones that are also in my shop you can do this with. If you don't want a fussy cut or you're unable to fussy cut, this is going to make it so your machine does the work for you. If you are scrapbooking 8.5 by 11 and you want to change the width of this, you just click up here, make sure that this ratio is locked and it stays the same, and you can just click 8.5 to make it 8.5 width, and you might want it just a little bit smaller than that, actually, like 8.25, so that it fits onto your paper, and then you can go ahead and do this method from there and then cut and scrap. We're going to go ahead and leave ours where it was, so I'm going to undo. Okay, and then this is all one file. If I wanted to just click make it now, it's going to cut as one piece and we would be done and good to go. I'm going to turn this into a bunch of little pieces so that I can cut the background pieces as well, like the circles for this and the backgrounds of these letters. These ones, I'm just looking at, I'm kind of like evaluating the easiest way to make this one happen. And you'll have to do the same thing with each file. So the first thing we're going to do is go over to shapes, and I'm going to choose the square. And it is currently a locked ratio, so if I click and drag, it's gonna stay a square no matter what. I want it to be a rectangle, so I'm gonna unlock the ratio over here so that I can drag it sideways as well as up and down. And I'm just gonna make it big enough to cover my design. Okay. Now that it's covering my design, I'm either gonna click over here and hold my shift key so I can select multiple layers, or you can click somewhere on your canvas and then drag across the two and it'll select them for you. And now I'm gonna click slice. And what's going to happen is it's just cut all of these negative spaces out of this square or rectangle, and it's also recut this main file for me. So if I drag this, you'll see it's gray, and the top of this is now gray, and then there's my original black one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my black one and hide it for now, just so I know that that's the one I want. I'm going to delete this one because I don't need it. And what we're left with is just this square with the negative space. But you'll also see it's got the filled spaces in there, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to click on it, and then we're going to click contour, and we're going to hide some of these things because we don't want to cut this square out of our paper every single time. That's just going to waste paper. So I'm going to click contour, and then I'm going to hide that big square. And to hide it, you just click on it. You can either find it over here in this panel, or you can find it here in this image, and once you're hovering on it, it kind of goes a lighter gray, and you click it, and you'll see it's hidden it over here. So when we click back out of this image, and you can see it here too, it's no longer on my canvas to cut. And I'm going to do the same with this center piece here, and this piece. I need to get rid of those. I don't know why they even came in. I'll clean that up, and hopefully they won't be in yours. You can even hide this whole piece here, which we want to do too, because we already have this cutting out in black. Okay, so I just hid the entire outline. So what I'm left with, I'm going to go ahead and X this out, is just those background shapes. Okay, I needed to hide that one too. So while you're still selected, you can click contour again and go back in, and you can do that as many times as you need to. So if you've missed something, you just go back in and do it again. So there's the inside of the C, inside there. These, I don't want pattern paper for these, so I'm hiding them right now. Okay, I just want patterns for the insides of letters and the insides of the designs. So I don't need it for that or that. think that's about it. And I'm not sure. We're going to try that spider and heart, but they might be kind of tiny. So let's just wait and see how that goes. Okay. We still have a few little like chittery things on there, but it's not as big a deal. Let's see if I can do it one more time. I think you can zoom in on here too. Yeah, you can zoom. So if you need to get closer to your image, you can. And then that way, that flickering doesn't help you really see things very well, but I don't want in between his legs. And I do not know. That spider's just going to be kind of difficult. So I probably will leave him out completely. Oh, and then I accidentally selected something on there. Hold on. Well, see, it's not selected on there, but it came back. So let's see. There we go. Is it still selected? No. Mine's glitching. Hold on. Because it shows that it's hidden in here, but it's still showing it on my page. So let's see what happens here. Oh, I know what happened. This came back. Okay. Okay. And then okay. So the issue with this now is it's all one thing, okay? And I don't know if I can ungroup it. I'm going to try. So I just did Command Shift G and I can't. So it's all one thing. So the next hassle is going to be choosing the colors you want these things to be cut out of, and then we have to do a few more slices just on sections of it. So I'm going to start with the witch's hat and work my way over. Actually, the witch's hat we can leave because I wanted that color. Maybe. Let's just start there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make another square. I think I'm going to duplicate this just in case I mess up. So I'm going to do either, you can either do Command Shift D or Command D if you're on a MacBook, or you can I just right clicked on this layer and I'm going to tell it duplicate, and then I'm going to hide one of them just so that it's there and safe and I don't have to go through this whole process again to get it back. Okay, so then I'm going to take a shape. I'm going to go get that square again, and I'm going to highlight. I'm going to turn it like, let's see what color. Let's make her hat green just so that I know what I'm doing here. Okay, so I'm going to make the square. I'm going to unlock it, and I'm going to drag it across her hat, and it might like drag on other elements, but I want to make sure that it covers her hat entirely. Okay, and then I'm going to click these two things again, and I'm going to click slice. Okay, and now I can drag this stuff out of the way. I'm going to have to use my hidden one again because I want that T to be a full T, but I'm not worried about that right now. I'm going to click on the green and make it go away, and then I'm going to click the green of her actual hat, and I'm going to delete the background, and I'm going to save this screen, but I'm going to go into contour and hide all those pieces I don't want, like this and the spider, his little eyeballs. He just needs to go away in general. I don't want the heart to be green, and I don't want her hat band to be green. I could, let's not do this yet. Okay, leave that. So there's her hat ready to go. There's a few little like funky pieces that we can get rid of now. That one, and I thought I saw one towards the top. Not sure where it went. There's like a little piece of, oh, it's part of that spider. I think it's his eyeball. Yeah. So I'm going to find that over here, maybe. Yep. And then close enough. So there's the hat. And I'm going to do that green. And then I'm going to copy. So Command C and paste. And I am going to hide again, but this time I'm going to make it purple because I want her hat band to be purple. And I'm going to contour hide all the big pieces. So the rest of what was not hidden on there. So this hat band part is going to cut out of purple pattern paper now, or whatever it is I choose. Cardstock, whatever. I want that other fussy thing to go away. This one. Okay. Okay, so the hat is done. I'm just going to move this up out of the way. If you wanted to group it to keep yourself straight over here, you can. I'm just going to drag and drop things across the screen. Okay, I'm going to keep using sections of this until I get what I want. So the cute, I'm going to do it out of all the same pattern paper. So I'm going to choose my shapes again, get the square. This one, I'm going to turn like a bright pink or something because that's what I always use to register a pattern paper. Unlock my ratio, drag it across, and then highlight the two things. I'm going to hold shift and then just click on something in this design and then slice. And then I can delete this outside square. Oops, not that one. Move this out of the way. This outside square. Grab the cute that's in pink and save it. Delete this one. So now this is going to cut out of a pattern paper also. Let's do the ghosty next because he's in the way, and then we can come back and fix this T, this 2, and that'll leave us the spook. Okay, so I'm going to grab a shape, switch the color. I'm going to choose like a light gray just so I know it's the ghost, and drag it over him. Select the background, slice, and then select the gray outline of the square, delete it, grab the ghost and move it. And there's a little bit of contour that needs to be done to move that K, or to get rid of the K. So I'm just going to go ahead and select those to hide them. And now you've just got the ghost and he's ready to be cut out of pattern paper or white cardstock or whatever it is you want to fill with him. Okay, so I can delete him off of this too. Actually, we're going to delete this whole thing and we're going to go back to our original. Remember I said we're going to hide it and save it because we didn't want to have to go through the whole process of getting that design back again. Well, this is why. So I'm going to make it come back by clicking on the eyeball over here on this layer and making it visible. And then I'm going to duplicate it again. I don't know why it's not letting me select it. There we go. So right click, duplicate, and then I'm going to hide the one that I just duplicated just in case I need it one more time. Okay, and we've done the cute and we've done the ghost. We're just left with the spook and the T and then the candy canes for the O's. So I'm going to do this shape again and square, and I'm going to turn this one orange, so because I know I'm working with the candy corn and the T. I'm going to go ahead and unlock the ratio on that so I can just make it a nice rectangle, and it's not going to bump into my spook, which means I can use it again too. And I don't really care about her hat, so I can bring it right to the top of the T. Right, and then I can go ahead and select the background, slice, move this out of the way, highlight the outside part of that rectangle and delete it, and then I'm going to go in and contour to get rid of a few things. I'm going to copy this in just a second. Actually, we'll probably just use this one. Let's turn it white because I want the white tips of the candy corn, and then I'm going to copy it again and paste it. And I'm going to turn it yellow. And I'm not sure what color I want to cut that T out of yet. I think I still want it out of pattern paper. So let's do it one more time. Copy, paste, and bring it down. And I'm going to make it like a bright, bright pink again. There's no bright pink in there, so I'm going to advance and then choose my pink. Okay, so I want the T out of pattern paper. I'm going to go to contour and hide everything but the T. And if there's a ton of stuff on there, you could just say hide all contours and then come back to your T and unhide it. Okay, so then there's your T ready to go out of pattern paper. I'm going to move it up to the top because it's finished. It's still connected, and I don't think, yeah, you can't ungroup it still. Okay, so for yellow, same thing, hide contour. I want just these inside pieces, so I'm going to hide all contours and the T, and then I'm going to come back and tell it I want just those two insides of the candy corn. So now those are ready to go out of yellow. And then the last thing would be, we got to do our white, so I'm going to click on this one, and which is why I did all the colors, because once I stack all these, then it'll fill the inside of that to look like a candy corn. We still have to decide what we want that T to be made out of. I might go with the same ghosty gray. I haven't decided yet, but I've got lots of cute pattern paper, so I'm going to leave it pink and see. I'll decide as I go. Okay, so now we need white, which is the top of the candy corn. So I'm going to contour all. I'm going to select everything, hide all contours, and then I want these two tops of the candy corns. I don't want that T, so everything else should be hidden other than the two candy corns. Looks like I accidentally hid that one, so I'm going to bring it back. When they're dark, they're going to get cut. So then we're left with the white. And now we just need the orange of this one, so I'm going to select it, contour. This is a lot of prep as far as like to make it cut, but ultimately it's going to save you all that fussy cutting time. So depending on if you like fussy cutting or not, this is worth it. Okay. So now we've got everything for the candy corn, the tea. We're just left with this spook. We've already done the ghosty and the witch hat. We need to do the inside of the too cute over there, or where it says the two spook. That's the inside of the O for that side. So we got to do that in something also, most likely pattern paper. So I'm going to click on this and hide some things, contour them out. I want this to go away. I'm going to hide all contours. It's going to leave me with just this S, and then I can click on the things I want to come back. And I want the P and the K to come back, and the inside of this O, because all of those are going to be pattern paper. And then I'm going to click off of it, and this is what I'm left with. And I'm going to tell it I want the same pink, just so that I know it's a pattern paper. I can rearrange these on my mat later and put different pattern papers in there. I'm not worried about that right now, like which pattern paper I'm going to use. I just know it's going to be a pattern paper. Okay, and then I'm going to unhide, where'd it go? Our whole thing one more time. I think it's right here. Yep. And I'm going to do the pumpkins. And honestly, I don't want to have to cut each of these little pieces of this pumpkin out. All right, we're not going to actually use much of this one. We're just going to end up using the stems for the green, but we don't want to have to like mess with all of these little cutouts for each pumpkin and try to fit those into the spaces. So we're going to cut one big shape and have it just placed behind there. So actually we're going to need two, because we need some yellow for the faces there. And then I'm just thinking through the process here. We might have to cut these two out of orange. And then that'll give us some dimension too. If we do orange with the yellow background behind the, well, actually those are going to be black already because that's the overlay. So never mind. We're going to do shapes, and we're going to do oval. And we're going to set this to orange, like a bright orange, pumpkin orange. I don't think we've used that color orange yet, have we? Oh, we did up there, but that's okay. We want to be able to use it more than once so it comes out of the same scrap paper. And then we're going to unlock the ratio, and we're going to put this over the pumpkin, and then we're going to drag it so that it pretty much generally fills that shape. Okay, without going outside of its boundary other than on this one. Okay, and then we're going to copy that and duplicate it so it's Command D, and then it should be exactly the same for this one. So you should have two of those. The pumpkin is taken care of. Okay, so I'm going to move those up to the top. And then we're going to come back to this, and we're going to do our contour, and we are going to hide everything except for those two stems. So we're going to hide all contours, and it looks like it hit everything except for that outside shape. So we're going to click on the pumpkin stems to make them come back, and then hide that overall shape. So again, I just clicked on the two pumpkin stems. Then I'm going to click on this big rectangle and make it hide, and then I can X out, and all I'm left with is the pumpkin stems. I'm going to turn those green. Hopefully the same green as her hat. It looks like it should be. Just because then that way it all cuts out of the same piece of cardstock or pattern paper or whatever it is you're going to use. So now we should have everything for that background ready to go. All right, so what this does is it basically gives you a color fill for each of the spaces inside of your overlay. Remember, we hid the overlay at the beginning. We need to go find that and unhide it. So you're going to click, you're just going to kind of look through your layers over here, and then you should have one layer that's got this eyeball with the slash through it, which means it's hidden. So I'm going to click that and make it visible again. And then what you'll notice is you can basically tuck each of your colors into the spaces, the negative spaces of this overlay, and have have it fill those spaces. So I can, the ghost is kind of hidden back there, but I can grab the ghost and fill him in to his space, right? So once these are all cut out of our pattern paper, we'll be able to put them right into their negative space like a puzzle and fill that. Okay, the only problem with this method is it's going to be like, it's going to just fit directly into those shapes. You're not going to have any overlap behind it. So if you need an overlap or you want an overlap, you'd have to offset these just a little, and that's possible, but it's a little bit more tricky. So I'm going to show you how to do it, but I'm not going to guarantee it's going to work with every single thing that you have on the page, and it might be, actually, as long as we separate them out far enough, it might not be a problem. I just did it when they were too close together, and that was a problem. But if we separate these out, it might not be terrible. You just don't want to make them so big that they overlap clear into a different shape or letter. So I'm going to hide this again, okay, just for a second. And I'm going to separate, I'm going to kind of zoom out here so that we can see everything that's on our page. And I'm going to really give them some space. So I don't want anything close to each other. If it's going to be the same if it's going to be overlapping, or if I don't want it to overlap, I should say, I'm going to move it away from everything. Okay. So like these, if they overlapped and became one item, that's not a big deal because they're in the same shape. So that's not too big of a deal. But you wouldn't want like your T and your ghost overlapping because they're going to become one item. And I'll show you why in just a second. Okay, so once everything is separated out on your paper, you're going to click Command A, and it's going to select all of your shapes. And then you're going to go up here to offset, and you're going to click it. And right now, like when you click it automatically, like the first time, it's going to be set to 0.25. So it's showing you this little light blue outline. And what that's telling you is how much it's going to offset that cut. So instead of cutting it right here on this edge of the E, it's going to cut it clear out here, which would be great if we wanted that big of a border. But if we do that big of a border, it's most likely going to show through our overlay. So remember, we hid that. We're not offsetting that. So I'm going to bring this down to about 0.8, probably 9, 8, somewhere in there. I just want it to be tiny, but a little bit bigger than the actual hole that it's going into. Okay. You could probably even go 0.1. Let's just see what that looks like. Yep, that's good. So if you wanted to just like click that and type 0.1 in there, you're good. Corners, I want rounded, and I want to weld these offset. So what that's going to do is when it creates that back, when I create this, it's actually going to weld it to this design. And then I'm going to click apply. And it's thinking. Okay. So now what I should have, it didn't. See how it created that background? I'm not sure what the weld did because I was expecting it to actually stick to that hat. So let's see what we get here when we don't do. Bear with me, I'm experimenting for a second. Oh, you have to weld it to apply it. Nope. Okay, what's that do? Same thing. Interesting. Oh, I think if they were like overlapped, maybe it wouldn't stick them together. I don't know. I'm going to have to experiment with that one a little bit. If there's more than one piece that it did. Anyway. Because now you'd have to go through and combine all those things. And your weld should have already done that, but let's see what unite does. Yeah. So unite is what sticks them together. I'm not sure why weld didn't do what it was supposed to, because it should have stuck those together too. Let's see what weld does. Same thing. So we had weld like marked on there, but it's glitching and it didn't actually attach the two things together. So then you'd have to go through and change all of these back to your colors of whatever it is you want them to be, so that you can keep track of what you're doing. So in this case, this one would have to be combined. I just use unite. And this one. And then I want both of these to be the same pink. So that's just an extra step. But if you want them to be a little bit bigger than the space that they're in, then that's a step you're going to have to do. It's just a lot of clicking. I'm going to do all of these at the same time. And then I'm going to select orange. Yellow. Combine. Make him white. And this white. And it looks like I just have greens left to do and this purple. So combine, weld. You can either use weld or unite. They're pretty much the exact same thing. And then that needs to be purple. This needs to be green. And now you just need to make sure that you unhide this again, and you should be ready to make it. Let's just click make it and see what we've got going on over here. Yep, so you got your ghosty and the bottoms or the tops of your candy corn. You should have your whole overlay. Looks like we didn't weld the bottoms of our candy corn, so that's something we need to go back and look at. Oh, we didn't change the color. Sorry. So orange. It didn't finish. So I always click make it, kind of look through my stuff, make sure everything looks like what I'm expecting it to cut out. This one I'm expecting it to be all out of black. My pumpkins, my candy corns, all the pieces. And then this is going to be pattern paper. So when I get to cutting it out with pattern paper, I'll probably end up moving this down just a little. And this way I can use 3 different pattern papers and have 3 different things, but still have them all on the same mat. And then I'm going to click continue and get them cut out. Okay, so you should have everything all cut out and ready to go. I cut mine out of this pattern paper it's called the Monster Mash by Doodlebug Design. And I just had a bunch of scraps, so that's what I used to get it cut out. And then you can see the whole paper pack here on the sample. So it's Monster Madness. I always call it Monster Mash. Monster Madness by Doodlebug. And then they have this coordinating cardstock pack. So I just used that for my background. I'm going to do that in purple. My overlay is all cut out and ready to go. My spider had a little bit of a problem as far as his little legs, and then I accidentally tore my heart. So I'm going to just show you how you can take care of that if you want to keep it on there. If you don't, you can always just cut this little guy off and then use some other kind of embellishment over on that hat instead. Okay, so there's that, and then all my little shapes here. And then I've done some sample photo squares. So if I were to have a 2 3/4 square inch photo, I would mount it on something that's like a 1/2 inch. I think it's a 1/2 inch bigger. No, I'm not going to remember. This is 3, I think. Let me measure it really fast. Yeah, so I did this piece 3 by 3, and then this one is 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. So that's how I'm going to mount that photo. And then this photo would be a 4 by 6. So this is 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. And then this back one will be 4 1/2 by 6 1/2. And I'm going to put that up in this corner. And then I'll just probably do a few embellishments with some stickers, and this will be done. But let's go ahead and fill this in. So in the tutorial, we actually made this. Remember, we did the offset. And that was so that when you actually glue this on here, see how you've got some space to kind of glue it around the outside, or on that back, I guess on this outline is what you would say. So I can put the glue on the outline and then stick the paper to it. If you don't do the offset, it's just going to fit perfectly inside there like a puzzle. So if that's the case, you would glue most of this down and go ahead and start putting your pieces in there. In my case, I did the offset, so I'm going to go ahead and start putting glue on like this. And I don't want to work on my background paper because I'll probably end up making a mess. I'm going to move that. Let's see if I can find a piece of scrap paper, just so you don't have the glare. So I'm going to run the glue just along the edge here, and I'm just using the Barely Arts glue. And I opened it, but then I haven't used it for a minute, so it's kind of clogging itself up. I never take the lid off and like wash it or anything. I always just put the pin back in it, and sometimes it gets a little goopy. So you're basically going to just choose which element you're going to work on, or pick up that piece of paper and kind of outline with glue. And then place those pieces on there. And it looks kind of messy from the back, but when you flip it over and look at the front, it's perfectly outlined, super cute, ready to go. So I'm just going to keep working on each of those letters. You can do the same with yours, and then we'll put the layout together. so I have all of the pieces glued on, and it looks like this one needs to slide over just a little. It might be a little too big because this line was just a little bit thinner than some of the others in the overlay. So I'm going to kind of just offset it and then I'll trim it, which isn't really a big deal. And if I can get my scissors in there, I might trim into that K, but we'll see how that goes. Actually, it's not so bad with him having just a little bit of a shadow there either. It kind of just makes him look a little bit more like an optical illusion, or kind of that ghosty hollow look. Anyway, there's the overlay, and now it's all full, which was super quick and easy. You don't need to help. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and bring my background back in, and I'm gonna glue down my photos, and then we will decide on a few embellishments, and this layout is pretty much done. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on my pretend photo here, and when I do put photos on here, I'll just cut them to that same size. Keep moving, Bubba. And then this is my background for that photo mount. So run a little bit of glue there. And if you've got a tape runner and you don't want to use glue, obviously this is where you would do that. Or if you've got the like double-sided tape or whatever your preferred method is, I don't mind using a liquid glue just because I know if I don't use a bunch of it, it won't wrinkle my papers or my photos. So there's my imaginary photo. And when I glue these down, I'm not going to glue my elements anywhere where it would go over my photo, just because that way when I'm ready to put my photos on here, that space will already be kind of reserved and not messed up, obviously. Okay, so I'm going to put this photo up in this corner. If you like, things lined up, actually, I don't normally, but I think I might actually line this one up kind of in the corner like that. I'm going to go ahead and put my photo mounts down and then rearrange my overlay to fit around that, because last time I did this, I did my overlay and then I couldn't squeeze my photos on and I had to pull up my overlay and it was a mess, and I don't want to do that again. Okay, so there. Pre-thinking it. This is going to go right here, and I'm going to not glue right here on the top of this so that I can still slip my photo underneath there like this, because it'll cover up that space. And then this one I want down here, but I am going to offset it. And then I'm going to do a little element here and probably a few little decorations. I'm going to put a heart or something there with that spider, and then it will be done. I don't know if I want to I don't think I want to fill him in. I just kind of want to leave him translucent. So I'm going to put some glue on this, put it down crooked over here, and now I can go ahead and glue this down. I'm also going to just leave that shadow behind that ghost because I like the way it looks. So I just have to remember not to put glue at the top of these letters. If you wanted a little more dimension, this is where you would use foam dots or whatever on the top of your, or on the back of this, so that it would pop a little bit. Or you could do a few other little elements around it and pop those. Like if you've got the 3D things from Doodlebug, or you've got some die cuts that go well, or you've got embellishments, like the kind of glittery kind of thing. I think I put glue on the bottom of that S on accident, so I'm going to have to fix that. Wipe some of that off. Okay, and then I'm not going to stick there in that corner. I might throw a little piece of scrap underneath there just to make sure it doesn't stick down. Okay, same with right there. I think I'm good. I can still slip my photo under there. Yeah. Okay, so now that that is placed and you've got your two photo mounts, you could basically go through your embellishments and put whatever on there. I want to do, I think, a little bit like one of these borders, but I'm not going to do the full thing. I'm going to do, maybe I'll do the spiders down here to kind of offset that spider, and then October 31st kind of up here across the top to kind of go with those pumpkins. Okay, so I'm just going to slice a couple of these out really quick. And if you've got them and they're already in scrap form, that's great too. This one has a little bit of an orange top. I should have probably sliced that off first. Hopefully this stays straightish. Not too bad. And then I want the October 31st. see I already used just like a little piece of the monsters on a different layout. You'll see that layout later. It's coming. Okay. That one's a little crooked, but it's okay because I'm only using a section of it. And I want that to go up here. So I'm just going to go ahead and glue it, and then I'll just trim off the back wherever it overhangs after I get it on the paper. I kind of want it to go over my photo mount just a little bit. And that works because it leaves that 31 there too. And being a little bit wonky actually is kind of cute too. And then a little bit of the spider down here. And I think we could probably put one more and then maybe a sticker or something. And then this layout will be done. What do we want? I kind of like the stars too. They go with the colors in the word cute, so I'm going to use those too. Maybe in both spots. I like to do things in threes too, so most likely this will mean that I'm going to have to do one more thing. Maybe a strip of this green to match the green on our photo mount. It's getting kind of narrow. Okay. Set that all aside. And I want this green up here. I'm going to offset it just a little. Oh, that orange might be cute too. On the back side. The stars down here. I think we'll finish off with the orange down here. And then the stars up on the top too. Okay, so then I'm just going to trim these off on the edge. Hopefully that's in screen. I don't know if you can see up there, but I got a helper. He's holding on to the paper for me. Okay, and then the stars up here. And I want them to be about that big, and I want this side. So I think I'm going to trim to get this half purple off, and then trim down to this other blue. And I think I already used them all up, but with this set I actually bought like a bunch of the like thick star stickers. Those would be really cute with this too if you've got any of those. This one, it's not quite long enough. This one, and it's thinner. That's perfect. Okay, so after you've added your embellishments and kind of dressed it up the way that you like and to the amount that makes you happy, like if you're one of those people that doesn't like a lot of embellishments, then you can stop when it's simple. If you want more bling, go ahead and add it. I'm going to add something right there because that paper is crooked. So I'm going to dig through the stickers. Maybe if I can find them. Oh, and there's a heart here too, so that's good because I wanted to use, it might be too big though. It's too big. I was going to use a heart with that spider. I'll put a star on there somewhere. This star on there. Also, these stickers come with borders too. So if you wanted to, you could have used those too if you've got this paper set. And maybe a big star down here. And then we need something right there. Maybe the "You're so sweet." That would be kind of cute coming out of the spider too. Oops. Alright, so I'm going to put this here. I'm going to move one of these stars over here. And this star up here. And then I'm going to put this coming off the spider. And I'm going to dress him up a bit and put a heart right there. And this layout is done. So thanks for watching. Be sure and check out the shop for more scrapbook overlays, and check out the library for more free files, and subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you know when I list new ones. There will be a bunch of new ones coming this fall, so be on the lookout for that, and thanks for watching.